What's up, nerds? Back with another Zümboxing video. So this one, we're not going to actually do a class today. That's tomorrow, Tuesday. Today what we're going to do is just go over something super simple that we're going to go about in all the classes, but I thought it would be a good video, standalone video to make. And that's kind of how I throw punches, kind of what I'm setting up for when I throw punches, and kind of the technique that we'll be practicing, at least when it comes to my class, Zümboxing, as I go. And let's get right into it. So, in the intro video and in the PowerPoint video where we talk about Zümboxing, the whole point is to start at the ground and work our way all the way up, and we're connecting the floor, our legs, our hips, our chest, torso, our back, and extending through the shoulder, boom, all the way out, and we're getting full extension, boom, to the end, and then right at the end, giving a nice little twist at the end, right? And so wanted to show you how that looks from the full process, right? So we're starting with our feet equal distance apart, right? And want to keep our feet almost, you can't do this every time when you're moving around, because you've got to keep the footwork right, which is part of why it takes practice, and part of why just boxing is just something that I love, because it's something you can work on for forever, right? But you are almost kind of spreading your feet apart and your toes, and you're almost just like you're squatting. If you've done any body weight squats or just squatting in general, you're almost trying to rip the ground apart with your feet. And because that really grounds you, it really brings out the most of that power in the floor. Then after that, we've got we're bringing the power up through our knees, through our hips, where we start to transition with our core, right? And so the goal is to keep those feet, you dig those feet into the ground, right? Squeezing your muscles, squeezing your glutes. You've got your nice core, the nice solid braced core, right? Just like the bodybuilders and all sorts of different physics experiments. You can put a ton of weight on a soda can as long as the soda can is compressed and has that pressure inside of it. But once you open up the pressure, once you crack the can, you just squish it immediately, right? And so that's kind of, just to go on a brief tangent, I think for me, that's what a lot of the old martial artists and all of the old, ki masters, right? What made them so strong is they had, throughout years and decades of martial arts training, they had tuned their body and tuned their core to a point where they are able to move and perform actions while still maintaining that core and still keeping that strength despite their age, right? And so it's really something that I train every day. It's something that I think is super important, because at the end of the day, my goal personally is to be able to move while keeping that full body tightness, keeping that full strength, but still at the same time, you're able to perform movements without losing that structural integrity, should we say, right? So you're keeping your legs, you're dug into the ground, you're ripping it apart, you feel your glutes, you feel that chest, that core tightness, right? And you're coming nice, you're pulling with your back. You're pulling with your back, not as much with your arms. I'm not doing this, just moving my arms back. I'm pulling back with my back, right? Very similar to a bench press. If you've ever, for any of the fitness people that have bench press, you almost want to feel like you're squeezing and crushing an acorn or something behind your back. You're not just moving your arms back to get ready to bench. You're pulling the bar apart with your back, right? Same thing with throwing the punch. So we're from the floor, squeezing apart, our chest nice and tight. Maybe you don't want to have your legs super far, because you're going to end up rotating with your core, right? So, because I had a little bit my feet spread out a little bit too much. And pulling back, so now ground up, boom, up through the chest, up through the core, up through the chest, back, 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 and you're now primed. Boom, you're in a nice, real good position, and that's when we start to push, extend out, full extension, and very similar to Bruce Lee's Wing Chun, where he punched with a straight up and down fist. He didn't punch moving out with your knuckles in a horizontal plane. He just straight 1 to 2 punch with your fist directly out. I really like that a lot. Something that I highly suggest. Hey, if you don't want to throw in the twist, you don't want to worry about any wrist problems, no problem. But at the very end, I think the most important thing to do right at the end is that boom, that nice turn and extend right all the way out, right? And the important part about all of this is that we're keeping the head of our fist. We're keeping that front face of our fist. We don't want to hit with our bottom of our ankles. We don't want to hit with our thumb. We want to hit nice and flat, nice and straight. And that's the best. I think that's one of the most fun things about Zümboxing, and part of the precision and the mobility aspect of this. And it's, again, you're not focusing on hitting. You're not trying to mess up your wrists. That's why you can see I'm wearing gloves. I have 16-pound boxing gloves, with a big protection, but we're not trying to throw these crazy huge punches, right? Because that just ends up leading to wrist problems. It ends up leading to higher risk of, messing up. It's something that I don't like. I don't want to teach. It's not something that I fit in with. So that's why we're just wearing regular gloves, because the goal is a nice solid contact with the bag. I should actually be back a little bit further, because there we go. Boom, right in with the bag. So again, from the ground all the way up. Nice solid boom, right? Super good. You're connected to the ground. You're squeezing your glutes. You got everything. Boom, everything's engaged. Boom, 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 right? You begin your turn. You could have your legs a little bit closer together. You start turning with the hips, right? Your core is engaged. You've got your arm, your back is pulling your arm back. Boom, you're extending all the way out. Move back a little bit. Extending all the way out to where the front face is connected. Boom, right there with the bag. And when I punch the top of the bag, you can see that the bottom moves slightly and it doesn't fly out. I'm not pushing the bag away from me, because if you're pushing, that means you're not making contact at the farthest point. And that's why one of the things that I train with, techniques to train, is technique training, right? Is you don't want the bag to move, because that means you're pushing the bag or you're not connecting properly. If you're making really perfect connections with your fist, the bag should stay exactly where it is, because you're connecting right at the end, and any movement is being counteracted by the next punch behind it, right? So we'll just throw a couple punches in here, nice and simple. Again, ground. And so, sorry I didn't start. We're moving along. This has all been stuff I've done my whole life. I haven't taught it, so cut me some slack, right? But something that you can help if you're practicing just the straight 1-2, and you're not practicing in the middle moving, right? If you're practicing just the straight 1-2, right? And you do the exact same thing. You're pulling your feet in. You've got your quads. You're bending down a little bit, or you could be standing straight up. You're feeling it a little bit in your hips. You're primed. Your back is ready to go. The important thing, and highly suggest you watch Ilya Taporia. He's incredible at this. Is you're sinking down a little bit, and you're really pushing off that back leg in addition to that punch. And this is all more advanced because again, that these little movements change the distance you are to the bag. And again, you really want to keep that nice flush hit with the bag, because again, with these little gloves, there's no wrist support. There's nothing to support the wrist. So if you mess up, you gonna feel it. But again, you're gonna feel it, but it is gonna be infinitely less worse. It's gonna be a lot better feeling than if you had hit it with this huge ass glove with all of the energy and that whole thing rips your whole wrist down. Believe me, I have been there, I've done that. It is not fun. It is significantly better to have and to work on your wrist strength. And part of this real quick, I shattered my wrist. You could see I've got this nice big scar. My doctor told me I would never be able to box. He told me I'd never be able to have the movement I did. But look at me now, bro. And that's all from spending all these years boxing, okay? So, not bad. All things considering, completely shattered wrist. Sheesh. Okay. Let's throw a couple punches, right? So I personally like to do, for the sake of this video, I'm going to have my full chest facing the bag. And you can see, because I'm used to this a little bit, you can see that I am pretty well lined up with the bag as far as distance goes, right? And really nice, good stretch out back. So there you go. Punching. We'll work on some more stuff in the future. I've got a little bit of work to do myself. I just wanted to make a little bit video. Stay tuned tomorrow. We've got a class coming tomorrow. And that's it. Smoke grass, eat ass. Be excellent to each other as always. I will see you in the next video. Deuces.